California lawmakers still keeping taxpayers in the dark about their new office building under construction still.
KCRA 3 political director Ashley Zavala has been digging into this story for years now, and she joins us with the latest information.
Golston, this project is clearly progressing in front of everyone's eyes to see in downtown Sacramento. But state lawmakers are not prioritizing the need to keep people informed about it. It has been at least 3 years since they provided the last cost estimate of about $1.1 billion. And even then, that figure makes it one of the most expensive buildings in the United States. Here's a look at what the construction looks like so far. The structure looks like it's pretty much set. Glass panels are going up on the facade. All year this year, I've been asking the group of Democratic lawmakers overseeing this project for updates. That group, the Joint Rules Committee, earlier this spring told us they would provide a public update on the project at some point this year. That never happened. Lawmakers wrapped up their work for the year and left Sacramento last month. The chair of the Joint Rules Committee, the leader of it, Assemblymember Blanca Pacheco, would not comment when I asked her about that situation. Since June, I have been requesting contracts, change orders, financial statements, and other documents to get a sense of what costs look like. Some documents show lawmakers are getting monthly updates, but the Joint Rules Committee is not giving us those documents from the most recent years. Here's what a taxpayer advocacy group and the former chairman of the Historic State Capitol Commission had to say.
You would think that if the project were on budget and on time, they would be bragging about it. But the fact that they have not come forward to describe what the full cost of the project is should be a warning flag to everyone in California, particularly those of us who are taxpayers who have to pay for this.
I'm disappointed to hear that they aren't ready. Certainly they have the information somewhere. We know from information that Channel 3 gathered that the construction manager has been providing monthly cost forecasts to them. It would be interesting to maybe study a timeline of when the cost forecasts rose and when the legislature's leadership was informed of that.
As for the apparent holdup, Assemblymember Pacheco said in a statement to me that, quote, the project team is analyzing the financial implications resulting from the litigation and related changes in project scope. The litigation she's referencing ended more than a year ago.
Wow. Well, the transparency just doesn't feel like it's really there right now.
Yeah.
So, I mean, what are legislative leaders saying right now, the governor and others?
Yeah, I've reached out to both asking, is this appropriate? Is this really okay? Having this construction unfold in front of everyone's eyes, but not telling taxpayers how much it's costing them. Assembly Speaker Robert Rivas, I should say, his spokesman echoed Pacheco's statement, noting they're still trying to figure it out. Nothing from State Senate Pro Tem Mike McGuire. Governor Gavin Newsom, he is not overseeing this project, but I also posed this question to him as a separate but equal branch of government to the legislature. We're still waiting to hear back from him.
We just want to see the receipts.
That's it.
Where are the
receipts?
That's it. Yeah. Thank you, Ashley.